Thank you, Victor. It's not often I get to share the stage with a rock star. In the United States, we have something called Charity Navigator, which is a watchdog, effectively, of all major charities and philanthropic institutions. And it's nonpartisan, and it combs through the data of the Clinton Foundation, for example, of the American Red Cross, which is the largest public charity in the United States, and says, this much money is being spent on administration. This much money is being spent directly on programs. If you invested $1, this dollar likely is currently being spent in A, B, or C place. And that's been really important. And I think because people then have confidence that say, you give money to the American Red Cross and you know that 92% of that money, so 92 cents of every dollar is being spent on a program, and 8%, which sounds about right, is being spent on the administration. You then feel good about that donation, and you're more likely to give them another dollar. Do I believe in miracles? I believe there are people who make miracles, I guess. I believe that what Steve Jobs created Apple, for example, is a miracle. I believe that the fact that he created a culture that will continue to innovate is a miracle, and that it has changed the way we think about the world and our own possibilities. So if we define a miracle as something that astonishes us and amazes us and changes the way that we think about the world, then yes, I believe in miracles. But generally the man-made kind, although I am a quite religious person. And when I think about whom I've met, or I guess not met, who impresses me most, I think I'll give 3 answers. One is a very personal one. My grandmother, who outside of my parents is the most important influence in my life, passed away a couple months ago. And she was my mother's mother, and she lived her dream, which was to provide a different life for her family than what she'd been given. And particularly as a woman who was born in 1919, which is the same year that women got the right to vote in the United States, she dreamed that her daughter would grow up and help create a very different country. The second answer is probably one that won't surprise you, and was someone that Victor and I were actually talking about earlier today, Nelson Mandela, whom I really find so inspiring because he transcended his own experience for the good of his country. The third, probably most inspiring kind of group of people that I know, and this is sort of the group, are the people that I know in Silicon Valley. Because they're really creating the future, and they're imagining the world that we'll all inhabit, next year, in the next decade, and arguably even in the kind of next decades to come. Because what they're creating there isn't only changing the way that we communicate, it's changing the way that we politically organize.